Sports. When you've got a great ball club. Sports. When you're leaving it all on the field. Sports. When you like your team's chances. Sports. To survive and advance in sports. For the teams you love and the teams you love to hate. Oh, it's Sports Channel 8. Yeah. Sports Channel 8. Hey! Hey! Hey!
It's Sports Channel 8, the streaming show. I'm live from Five County Stadium. We're in hype right now. Traffic is backed up on 97, 39, 264. I mean, just everybody's coming out here. I was trying to walk out the back of Five County Stadium where I could show you like the development that's being built out behind Zebulon, where Goodson is about to just crush money, selling mortgages to all the residents of Eastern Wake County. But now we're here for an education day. And, I mean, I don't think I've ever seen as many people sitting outside the gates as there were before. But
well, hey, hold on. Are those people there for the Mudcats game, or are they there for the open houses for the development that's getting built?
Actually, that's a good question. They should start having – I mean, you can't – they're filling in fast here. I was trying to give you a shot of, like, can you see the traffic out there?
No.
Can't do very well. Trust me, it stands still on 97 and 39 right now. But
hey, and that development that's being built back there it actually straddles the Wake and Johnston County line. So, do houses on one side of the development, are they like 50% less than houses on the other side of just because,
good point.
There's big property tax implications depending on where you're being built.
And probably voter rights implications as well, probably. And
Woke,
like what
Permar. Good
what
morning.
textbooks your kids are going to read?
Yeah.
Are you getting the math book that acknowledges that gay people exist, or the math people that doesn't? What? That's right, Goodson. Woke Permar in the house. All right, let's talk about
you're either in a district that actually has Wake County, or you're in a district that somehow has Pamlico County as part of your district.
Yeah, but voting wise, you're either like diluted and drowned out by Raleigh people, or yes, you're in a block with like Pamlico and Pender counties are all with you right there, depending on what side of the street you're on.
I'm probably the least political person, but when I see the voting maps of our state, I laugh every time. I'm like, excuse me? Like, who drew this? Like, this map just seems stupid.
Yeah.
Both parties, bipartisan, got to nut up and say gerrymandering is bad. And when they're in charge, they got to do it because both parties have neglected to do it so far. All right. What we starting with Panthers?
Hey, Education Day. It's a scam. There's no educating going on there.
No,
Yeah,
it's
how
absolutely.
much are the kids learning? How many textbooks are out at the ballpark today?
But at least the kids can now execute. They can exercise NIL deals. They can get sponsored to be here now because we're only providing them education. No, it is 100%. Hey, schools, you've got lots of people. If we give you a cheap ticket per head and we throw the game during your school hours, will you come? Yes, let's do it. Boom. Actually, but seriously, for how cold it's been, Mudcats crowd's been good early season. I think much like they're expecting it to be a buku concert season. I think people are like just itching to do stuff that they may have only done once every 3 years, 5 years ago, but they're like, I'm going to 6 concerts and 5 sporting events this year because I finally can. I think for a lot of people. All right, somebody else.
Real quickly about
Go ahead.
Five County. This would not relate to Education Day. At least I hope it would not. But how are beer prices looking at Five County Stadium?
That's a decent question. You
would obviously not know about the alcohol intake at a stadium because you're there working. So BG, that's a tough question to ask Ferb. He's there working. He's a professional.
Much like NASCAR, Five County is kind of a BYOB facility. Like I don't think we're checking coolers out here. Really? No, I'm kidding. I'll get an answer on the future question on that. The question is like, is there any beer available under $5? I know on Thirsty Thursdays we've still got something for $3, Deep Rip, I think, or Foothills. But like, is that probably a 12 ounce for $3 is my guess.
I mean, compare that to the Aristocrats at Durham Bulls Athletics Park. Those are damn good prices out at 5 County Stadium.
No, I know. My wife and I were lamenting this recently. Like, when you go out to dinner, if you get 2 drinks each, there's a chance that like alcohol is more than your food right now.
Yeah.
If you get 2 drinks each, like the snooty places started charging $7 a beer, and I think people didn't balk at it. And then like the moderate places were like, all right, $7 a beer, let's do it. And we all just kind of went in, and it was like, wait a minute, I'm getting 2 beers and a $12 entree. So anyway. All right, I don't know what topics you guys want to start with, but I'm going with the Panthers.
Oh, God.
Are they geniuses, or are they the stupidest people of all time? I will say, all right, taking the political, the bad guy aspects of Jerry Richardson aside, North Carolina pro sports has seemingly always been about, we know we're not going to be the best, but we're going to be like cater to the people of North Carolina kind of. We talk about this with the Canes sometimes. It's like, we don't want them to be the Maple Leafs. We want them to know their audience, right? And aside from the off the football field activities of Jerry Richardson, and yes, we would have all loved to the Panthers have been better. It felt like they at least knew what mattered for fans, even if it was stuff that we hated, like Brenton Burson because he was Jerry Richardson's neighbor, but like maybe overpaying guys that were fan favorites, but like keep pounding was a thing, and like stuff mattered. Now it just seems like they're incompetent. Am I crazy?
Yeah.
Like they're just they don't understand what the fans want, and they're not good, and they're not winning, and so it's just bad. BG.
A couple things. First off, I'm going to make a motion to refer to Jerry Richardson just as redacted from here on out on the show.
I was hoping you were going to move to call him only Mr. Richardson.
Yeah, no.
How about Mr. Redacted? Mr. Redacted. How about that?
I love it.
Jerry Richardson now, Mr. Redacted.
Okay, 2. I do think is like I've just like really start like it's just less and less the last couple of years. My interest in the Panthers. I do find that like the way they're just like backsliding into like the post Cam Kuechly era is just a full blown tailspin of like, no, we're gonna be super bad. Like we're not even like in a tanking sense. Like we're gonna be we're trying to win a lot of games, and we're so incompetent, like just unbelievably incompetent. That like not only are we losing 80% of our games, but we're just like leaving abandoned buildings in South Carolina. Just like I love it. It's amazing.
What in the world?
And second, and like the last thing I would say here, at least to start off, is like it is so funny how many of these like even a guy like Tepper that by like at least he didn't like inherit his billions of dollars the way a lot of these like dipshit owners did in the NFL. And it's like, but even him trying to come in with like the business genius mindset. And like, this is what it gets you. like Sam Darnold at quarterback, nothing good. And then, like a Bluth Company style abandoned practice facility in South Carolina. It's lawyers about to show up on both sides of the fence. Like it's
counterpoint. If you're going to suck on the field, you need to start being just bad people in like your business dealings as well. So to be like to like remain relevant in like the sports world, like no one cares if the Panthers stink on the field because the Panthers are kind of irrelevant. So it's like they need to double down and just be kind of bad people as well. So
Did you guys see this?
Amazing.
Yeah.
Like honestly, like the shot of that. The shot, oh my God, that's right. He's the offensive coordinator, right? Is it McAdoo? So Matt Rule and Ben McAdoo are going to lead this team. And they're going to lose like at least 15 games.
I had forgotten Ben McAdoo. I'd forgotten Ben McAdoo was the offensive coordinator until he spoke yesterday. And the only thing bad about that picture was because it's just on the other side of the border in South Carolina, instead of a Halloween store, it had to be a fireworks store. It needed to be a pop-up.
Yes.
Pop-up 4th of July fireworks store over Halloween. Like, and this time of year, like, come on, it's summer. But no, I had totally forgotten that Ben McAdoo, this chud, like, police chief of Pamlico County looking dude with his mustache was our offensive coordinator. And then let's hear the video of Ben McAdoo talking about the starting quarterback yesterday. This is amazing.
And you look at Sam as your starting quarterback?
Sam is our starting quarterback, yes.
1 minute, 37 seconds later.
One of the things I've been working on is being better talking to you people. So, announcing the starting quarterback here, I just put my foot in the mouth. So that wasn't something I should have said.
that is straight up Rick James Chappelle show. I didn't slap him in the face. Yeah, I slapped him in the face. Like, rewind, like, wait, what? Like, but instead of cocaine is a hell of a drug, he was like, oh, yeah, I'm trying to do better talking to you guys. Foot in the mouth. He didn't even get that phrase right. I mean, my question is, maybe y'all watch the video more carefully. What happened in between the two? Did he realize it himself? Did somebody walk in with like a big poster board being like, shut up about QBs? Like, did Tepper demand that they all wear like a microchip where he could talk to them at all times? And they're like, dude, get off it.
I was wondering if one of the grizzled Charlotte sports reporters asked him a gotcha question, like, hey, who's going to be your starting quarterback? And then they tricked him with a follow-up question about, like, hey, who's going to be your starting quarterback? Is it Sam Darnold? And hey, look, man, these things happen. When you cut your teeth in the media capital of the United States, like New York, as Ben McAdoo did, when you get down to the South, you realize it's even tougher down here to handle the media. And I think Ben McAdoo found that firsthand yesterday as he literally described himself putting his foot in his mouth. Amazing.
It's something else. He had some comments yesterday in the press conference that he talked about Darnold being one of the reasons he came down to Carolina. And he said, I think Sam has some magic in his game. You get that? Some magic. He does have magic. He makes W's turn to L's. That's right.
That's right. That's right. Are you guys excited for the draft next week? Goodson, isn't that guy from State going to go number 1 or whatever?
I'm not even. I'm moved on to 2023 draft basically, and Devin Leary going number 1 next year. So yeah, I mean, I guess Equano's going to go top 10. I don't care a ton.
Okay.
To be completely transparent.
There's nothing sexy about an offensive lineman getting drafted, right? Like, most fan bases hate that. If but I don't know.
Is Ben McAdoo Joe Bluth? Is yes. The answer to that is yes, actually. But yeah, Ben McAdoo should have done the Joe Bluth. I've made a huge mistake after he said after he unknowingly admitted who his starting quarterback was going to be. Goodson, would you have cared more if Aquano decided he was going to come back for the 2022 season? Do you feel like he's turned his back on the program?
He should have. Him and Devin could have gone 1-2 next year.
Yeah, and it's a big mistake on his part. You got to think.
I mean, I don't know if anybody's ever gone 1-2 back to back, but we'll see.
Yeah. Have you guys been watching the NBA playoffs at all?
Yeah, I watched. God, last night I could not believe that. No, I have not watched any of it. I did see a very funny stat last night, BG, and you may be able to like speak into it because it kind of came up on my radar. It was Chris Paul led teams with Chris Paul, right? So obviously that's the Suns have lost like 14 in a row when there's this one referee who's reffing their games.
Not Foster.
Like what is that? Like, is it just something that's totally like
he hates Chris Paul, man? Like,
is it? Now I'm asking you, like, is it like are games officiated differently? Because that is it sounds like stupid. It's like, okay, that mean what's that 14 over? How many is 14 games over 3 years, or is 14 games in the last 2 years? And if so, it's like, okay, maybe if it's in the last year or two, like Maybe there's something there to that.
No, I think it extends back multiple years for whatever that's worth. Yeah, Scott Foster is. I mean, I've said this for years now. I think it's like ludicrous that like the NBA allows this clown to ref games. Like he's really. I mean, I guess it's one of those things where like he must grade out well enough because he gets to call big playoff games every year. So like I'm assuming by the league's metrics, the refs' metrics, he does pretty well. But like every game with him turns into just like it's just the Scott Foster show is like a side show in every game that he officiates. Grandstanding for calls, making bad calls, over reffing, just like interjecting himself too much into the game. And then there's the Chris Paul factor, which is just that like Chris Paul hates Scott Foster and Scott Foster hates Chris Paul. And like those guys will probably go to their graves hating one another. and just like you think State fans hate Chris Paul. Like you ain't seen nothing with Scott Foster. And like they just don't now. I do think last night's win for New Orleans had more to do with New Orleans making a ton of threes, Devin Booker getting hurt and not being able to play for big stretches of that game. He was in the midst of an awesome performance. So like, you want to lay all of it on Scott Foster's feet, but like it is astonishing that like this guy continues to ref playoff games and continues to ref Chris Paul games. I mean, I think there are some confounding variables. People have like dug into the numbers a little bit to sort of like show like, hey, there's not like it's not like these games are being fixed or whatever. I just really do think like it is just some wackiness inside a relatively small sample. But there is something to be said that like Scott Foster does not like Chris Paul. And like just the Chris Paul's team is never going to get the call, like the 50-50 call like late in the game that might swing things for them if Foster's on the whistle that game. I mean, like I can't like say that definitively. That's just what I feel, but that's definitely the vibe.
I got a new theory. Every AAU team goes 3-1 or 2-1, whichever it was. Every NBA series with a 1 or 2 seed involved starts out 1-1. Always split. Sometimes you lose the first game, and then everybody gets to ride are they in trouble columns, and then they come back and blow them out to game 2, or they win game 1 like they're supposed to, and then drop the second. It's like, is this going to be a series? And then it'll probably end 4-1, maybe 4-2 at worst. That's how every 1-2 series goes, and versus the lower seed in the NBA.
It's important to remember, and like we'll see. Like I mean, Devin Booker hurt his hamstring last night. Like he could be out for the rest of the series. That would in like the Pelicans are also not your normal 8 seed too. Like Brandon Ingram is on one. CJ McCollum, UNC legend CJ McCollum playing great basketball. Trey Murphy from UVA and from Cary in Durham also playing very, very well for the Pelicans right now. Devontae Graham, kind of losing his spot in the rotation a little bit, but he's out here too, so that's cool. But like they're better than your normal 8 seed. I think it's something.
4-2 Suns. 4-2 Suns. Even if Devin Booker gets hurt, 4-2 Suns.
What I was going to say was your initial point is still good, which is that like there's so much overreacting. Like game 1 is a 15-point win, and everyone's like, well, there goes the series, and it's like, no, they have to win 3 more. It's probably not going to be a sweep. You know what I mean? Like it's just that's how these things tend to go. And you saw Memphis even up its series last night with a win over Minnesota. It does look like Miami could just steamroll Atlanta. Like maybe the Hawks get 1 in Atlanta.
There's only one sweep, but 3 of the 4 series involving the 1-2 seed, I feel like split in the first game.
Yeah. I mean, it happens every year. Like I think Phoenix fans are freaking out a little bit. I think, but I think it's okay for a 1 seed and a title contender to lose a first round game. But I think the bigger concern is like what's Booker's status. And tonight should be really, really fun too, though. Like Brooklyn and Boston at 7. That's a huge game. And game 1 of that on Sunday was really entertaining. We'll see if Brooklyn's able to even up that series on the road. Philadelphia, Toronto at 8. Philly's been grooving, but it's one of those things where it's like maybe this thing flips a little bit. Like game 3 is going to be in Canada. No Matisse Thybulle for Philadelphia because he's a moron and refuses to get vaccinated, so he cannot play in Canada. Good job, idiot. And then the nightcap, Chicago at Milwaukee. Like, I don't know. Chicago had a chance to pull off game one. DeMar DeRozan had even with DeMar DeRozan having a tough shooting night. Giannis was in foul trouble for the Bucks. So I don't know. Like, I could see Chicago like hanging in a little bit, but that series feels like it could be a boat race for the Bucks. Like, if they just start playing better and Chicago's defense takes a step back, like that one feels like it could be over pretty quickly. But I don't know. I thought there was some encouraging stuff for Chicago in game one, even though that felt like one that they had to win if they were actually going to be semi-competitive in this series.
Are any of y'all watching Winning Time on HBO?
No.
Yeah, I've missed the last 2 or 3 episodes, but yeah, I'm watching it.
All right. It's really good. You should check it out. Now there's controversy about Jerry West stirring, and he's like mad at him. And I have heard that like the TV show is different from the book. Like the book is like a reported book. So if Jerry West was portrayed one way in the book, I'm like, I'll live with it because I think that dude interviewed people. But they're saying his portrayal in the TV show is different from the book. That aside, that's going to be on Sports Talk today. But amazing juxtaposition. Kyrie in Boston yesterday or Sunday, his interaction with the fans, his back and forth, we highlighted it Monday on the show. In the episode, he did the fake crying, like mad at people. He was asked about it post game, and he was like, "They hate me. They call me, a B word and a P word." Sorry, I'm around kids. He's like, so I'm just giving the same energy back to him. In the episode that night on Winning Time, it features like the Lakers take their first trip to Boston with like Magic Johnson's a rookie, and like veterans are talking about it, and it's like you could play this and be talking about Kyrie. He's like, different kind of white people up there, man. They do this and like weird stuff happens and you just hear this leprechaun giggling at you. And I was just picturing like the 3 dudes like laughing at Kyrie and then there's a serious conversation between Kareem and Magic. And they're like, Magic's mad because he's like, dude, this like the Larry Bird basically isn't even nice. He doesn't even try to be likable and they freaking love him. I'm like out here like working hard and like they hate me. And Kareem's like, that's how it's always going to be. It's like, dude. And he's like, well, what if I win? And he's like, they still won't love you. They'll start talking about it. It's like, dude, this is Kyrie. Like, it's like, it's unbelievable. Like, you thought you could go to Boston if you win, it would matter. And it probably wouldn't have. They would still treat you the same way. It was just an amazing juxtaposition to see, like, the real life happening and then the sort of fake real life from 1981 to be like, this is the same stories that are going on now. I'm going to let y'all finish out.
Breaking news.
Somebody else left State's program?
No, someone actually just joined State's program. They got a point guard from Ole Miss.
I was going to let y'all finish. All right, Moose and good thing. I'm going to finish with you. At this point, do you want absolute nobody returning? Just go full, I want a new roster now? Or do you actually want Sebron and Terquavion Smith now? I'm at the point now, like, you know what? Let's wash it all and go all transfer portal. I'm going to leave y'all with that. I got to bounce to some Mudcats. Peace out.
See, I was gonna say to Perm, like, have you not been watching? It's a whole new roster right now as it is. Like, that's where we are.
But I'd be like, do you even want those dudes to come back now? Even as good as they are and as cool as they were watching.
I mean, yes, you would take Darion Sebron and Terquavion Smith.
Yeah.
But I know, but I think it's all.
Let me go BG. Yes, Hayes. Whenever you have 2 NBA prospects
okay, fine,
to play on your basketball team, you would probably want them to play on your basketball team.
But as a fan now, I'm almost like, nah. Let's just go. Let's pretend like it's just an all new roster. Let's go and go Mudcats. Y'all talk it out. See.
So they got Jarquel Joyner. Is that the addition that State got?
Yes.
Okay, he's pretty good. I actually think
that's a lot different than your reaction yesterday when Jack Clark committed.
I didn't really see. I hadn't seen Jack Clark play. I saw Joyner some this season in the SEC, and he's like, yeah, he's not.
He's fine. Like, I mean, I think the biggest thing is he's like 22 years old.
Yeah,
he's old. Like that's good. Like experience.
Yeah. I would imagine he'll be 23 by the start of next season too. Would be my guess.
Absolutely.
It's like I think one of State's problems last year, BG may be able to back me up on this, is Cam Hayes was supposed to be the guy running the point for them, and having them move Sebron over there really changed how they So having a point guard that knows what the hell he's doing is going to be, I don't know. It should be good for them, even if he's not.
Yeah,
an excellent ball player. Does that make sense?
There was definitely like some like moving. What would have been great is if Hayes could have like found his game as like a secondary guy, right? Like I think Keats and his staff were sort of hoping for that. Like, all right, we'll take him off basketball. We'll give it to Darion. We'll give it more to Terquavion. And we're gonna spread the floor, and we're gonna have Sebron just get downhill and like try to make shit happen at the rim, and then spray out the Hellum, spray out the Smith, and it would have been kick out to Hayes or Morcell or Allen or whomever, and it's like it had some success. Like they weren't like a terrible offense. Sebron is pretty awesome. It wasn't pretty every game, and I think it really helped. Like Hellum's had a nice season shooting the basketball, his best season ever, and like.
Did he?
That is because he did. I mean, he shot in terms of 3-point shooting. He shot over 52% of his shots were threes. Like he got him up, and he made him at a plus 40% clip. And I think a lot of that was Sebron kickouts. Same with Terquavion Smith. But Hayes never found that role. And it stinks. It's like I think Hayes is talented. I think he could have been a really good guard in this offense, but man, the shot just disappeared on him at the wrong time this season. And I still think he's a pretty which was early in the season to add to that. And I just don't think he's the kind of point guard that without the jumper can turn the corner and get downhill, make reads. He needs the shot to sort of set everything else up. And they flipped the switch to Sebron, and I think it had some success, but it certainly didn't result in wins or anything like that. Fortunately, the defense was a big bad. But we'll see. Joyner's a guy I think that can certainly help them. I mean, I'm sure we'll see more Breon Pass next season. By default, he announced he was coming back for his sophomore year. And I thought there were some I don't think Pass had a great freshman season, but I thought there were some reasons for optimism for him going forward. I think he showed some stuff late in the year for State.
Yeah, they need a big man. They're big trouble up there.
Yeah. I mean, I guess you hope Ross comes back, right? And he, obviously, you get decommitment from Sean Phillips. That's tough, but if Ross comes back healthy, I think he looks like a guy that could actually be pretty good. And I think Dwana, he's such a liability on offense, but I think defensively he fought and he can block. He was really one of the better shot blockers in the league this season. But teams just didn't have to worry about him. He'd screen for Smith or Sebron, and opponents could just let him roll into space and just be we don't care. Throw it to him if you want to. We know you don't, and he'll probably miss a shot or turn it over if you do throw it to him. But I think Ross can do some stuff. But he's just got to get healthy and get stronger, obviously. But I think there's some talent with Ross. So, but they need some shooting. Very obviously, they need some shooting. But getting an extra ball handler like Joyner in is that's really helpful.
Yeah, it was. I think in the beginning of Keats's tenure, a guy like Markel Johnson was kind of the key, and they never replaced that in the last couple of years. I mean,
Hayes was supposed to be the guy, I think.
Right.
Johnson left in 2020. That was his last season. Yep. And the 2020-2021 season, that was when they did it sort of by committee. It was a lot of Devin Daniels. It was a lot of Cam Hayes. It was a lot of Shaq Moore. And it was a fair amount of Braxton Beverly, right? And then Daniels left, Beverly left, Moore transferred. And then it was just Cam Hayes, And it is wild to think what it would have looked like this season if Sebron hadn't made the jump that he did. The fact that he was that good, went from being an interesting sort of back end of the rotation player to a legitimate top 45 prospect for the NBA draft is nuts. And again, it gave State a pretty high floor on offense. And then certainly Smith being Smith is ridiculous, man.
Yeah.
His talent is just, it's off the charts. His skill, he's got, the ball handling, the range on the jumper, he's just built the score. And, he is one of those guys. This is not quite a Hail Mary, but this is me really trying to what the take that I'm about to have is me throwing the ball deep into double coverage here. But he has some star potential for the NBA. And like as a guy that will probably land outside the lottery, but could be a guy that like creates offense at a high level in the NBA. Like, I don't know, maybe he'll come back next season. Like I suppose that ship hasn't sailed yet either. And if he does come back, he returns to the ACC as the best prospect in the league, probably.
Yeah, and I guess let's pivot there a little bit. Like, you look at the two guys that are in the draft process for state, right? The guys that could come back. You got Sebron and Smith. And Sebron, I kind of look at as like, you're probably gone. Like, older, you got to – yeah, you're older. You kind of have to cash in on what you did this year. And Smith, as you said, had moments this year where he flashed that star ability, and then moments, where he looked like a freshman college player. I'm not certainly not an NBA draft expert like Bomani Jones or somebody like that, but I don't know where Terquavion Smith ranks. Like, I don't know how likely it is that he stays in the draft. Like, he looks to me like a guy, and admittedly I don't watch a lot of NBA, but he looks like a kid that needs to put on some muscle and get stronger, and maybe another year in college does that. And I don't know, but I'd say Sebron's probably gone. Smith is, and this is the read from other people that are inside, it's like a 50-50 deal whether or not he returns.
Yeah. It feels like there's a couple of – I mean, like, a lot of these guys have to – well, I guess they have to decide by Sunday if they want to, like, actually, like, test the draft waters, which is like – I will have decisions coming up shortly from Caleb Love, Trevor Keels, Jeremy Roach, Wendell Moore Jr., and it doesn't hurt these guys to test. Like, they can always test and come back, and it probably would behoove a lot of them to do it. Like, it's you travel around, get some feedback. It seems like a win-win in a lot of cases. I'll say this: I don't know where like the consensus. Like, I don't know. I have no idea where like the league is on Terquavion Smith, but I know people, like friends of mine, colleagues of mine that study the draft, like myself, that think about the draft, like. Smith is a guy that could absolutely, like, if I were to do like a mock draft of 30 people, or pardon me, of 30 first round picks, Smith might land in my first round. Now, it might be towards the back end of it, and I'm just one guy, so who admittedly saw a lot of Smith too. So maybe that has some impact on my evaluation. I saw him more than some of these other guys that are maybe on the fence outside of the ACC at least. So. I don't know. He like the thing is, like, he loves state, and he, at least if he comes back, like, he would be one of the most high profile players in like state could be bad, but he's still going to be a big deal. And he would make a bunch of money with NIL, probably a couple $100,000, going to be one of the faces of the league, score 1 billion points, play with Breon Pass. And so like, there's some stuff you could see. You're like, okay, yeah, I get. And I think he and Pass are friends, so it's like there's some stuff that state has going for it, but I guess it's one of those things where like all it does is it just takes one team to say, hey, we're gonna have the 7th pick, and if you fall to us, which you may not fall to us, but if you do, we're picking you. Now there's no guarantees, like stuff is fluid, but it could just take one team saying that, and certainly you couldn't knock Terquavion for saying.
No, I mean, you flash a lot of money at a kid from Farmville, North Carolina. And
yeah, exactly. Who's dreaming playing in the NBA, and it's like it can be quite literally too good of an opportunity to turn down, But I think that, like, ultimately, I don't think the goal of NIL was for this type of stuff. I think really it was just sort of like it was the right thing to have, like that happen. But I do think there's this thing of. Like people have players have options now. We've talked about this on the show, but it's like it financially, even as short of like as 2 years ago, it wouldn't have made any sense, right? Like, or if it did, it was a huge risk, and and now that's not. It's just less of a thing now. I mean, like again, NIL money is not the same as like being on a rookie NBA contract. Like it's not. It's just not the same. It's less money. But
and Goodson and I were talking about this before the show started. Like NC State, if you're talking specifically about Smith here and his situation, NC State's kind of behind the 8 ball in terms of getting their NIL machine up and running.
It's a huge problem. It's a big problem.
Yeah, it's exactly. It's a big issue right now with the portal humming. Yeah. And then you have guys like, Baycott, who is coming back to UNC, clearly could go to the draft, right? Or, whatever. Yeah, probably not a first-round dude, but probably late second round, make some money.
Yeah. Yep.
But like we talked about, I think on Monday or whenever it was that he announced he was coming back over the weekend or whatever, it's like clearly it's an opportunity cost, right? Like I'll come back to UNC, I'll make probably a lot of money.
A lot of money.
And, there's and still have, as long as he doesn't get seriously hurt.
Yeah. He'll still play
the NBA is going to be waiting. Yeah. So it's like to not have a system in place when this was, or not to have it already in place many months after this was announced that it was a thing, you've really screwed yourself. And so I think Goodson said, like, there's talks ongoing about how to pull stuff together, but it's just like, it's
almost too late, man. Like at least in this like initial iteration, like it is too late. Especially because State had some guys that they could have, including guys that were on the roster this season that you could have. Maybe if you had this thing fully operational, it would have.
Yep.
I mean, who knows? Maybe guys like Bates and Hayes wanted to just go, regardless, and
right.
that's totally fair. But and I've even seen guys that have committed to Duke. These 5-star prospects that have said when I came to Duke's campus, they pitched me on NIL. They showed me this, and it's like that was really big for me. I'm sure, I'm sure some prospects probably don't care that much about it. They're just like, look, I just want to play ball. Like I'm not worried about my brand, but or how much money I'm going to make. But you still got to have it there in place and ready to roll. And for a place like State with the resources that it has, it's kind of a big F up, to not have that. Not have that moving. But all right, Moosey, we could, I suppose, unless you got anything else, we can table it here until.
No, you heard it from here.
Weather, by the way, I know it's cold, but I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying the sun. I'm enjoying it not being 1,000,000 degrees outside, so I like it.
It's 60. It's going to be 69 degrees today. It's April 20th. So Merry Christmas to you guys that celebrate 420. I mean, it's a great day to be outside. So yeah. No frost here in Joko, by the way. We had the freeze warnings. I didn't have nothing. It was great. So
all right.
Yeah. Don't water your plants and don't worry about strawberries. So
All right. All right. This was another episode of Sports Channel 8, the streaming show. We'll talk to you guys on Friday.